stand on existing protocols. Let me start by giving you an update, a progress update on the Dangote Refinery. Mr. Chairman, I'd like to let you know that since the refinery started we had trial production in January, and then full-time production started in March. Since then, we've processed about 50 million barrels of crude. We've produced about 5 million tons of petroleum products. And these petroleum products have been sold in various parts of the country. Jet has been sold in Europe since May. We've been sending jet to Europe. Other products have been sent to places as far as Asia, US, Brazil, and so on. So the refinery has been making a lot of progress. We just basically have 3 questions that we think we should look at by the committee and also as Nigerians. The first question is, do local refineries deserve protection from dumping? That's the first question. Second question is, should Nigeria protect its infant industries in order to encourage investment? And then the third question is, should local refineries have preferential access to Nigerian crude? Those really are our questions that we want this committee to consider. On the first one, as I've said, we produced 5 million tons of products, but of those 5 million tons, about 90% of it had to be exported. While at the same time, products we were producing are being imported into Nigeria. We find ourselves competing against Russian products that are being produced with oil that is valued at $60. We all know that because of the cap that has been put on Russian oil, the value of Russian oil today in the market is $60. And that's what Russia is using to produce their products, and those products are being sent in large quantities into Africa to compete with products that are produced in refineries that buy crude at $90. We don't think this will be a fair competitive environment. And I think even under the rules of WTO, when you have such unfair competition, it is normal to put protective measures. US, for example, has done that to protect their own industries against attack by China that subsidizes their own industries and then sends them to US. So that's the first question. We want the committee to consider, do we deserve protection against dumping? The second, as a nascent industry, refineries, I think we can all agree, even though NNPC has run refineries, but for the private sector, it is new. And generally, when you start a new refinery, it takes at least 2 years to stabilize. You go through a process of stabilization, you'll be struggling with the refinery, ramp up your capacity, bring new units, and so on, get your processes, your financing, and all that. It takes at least 2 years. If within this period, you don't allow this baby, you don't give it some protection. I think even in the animal world, when a new baby is born, they don't just throw it, leave it out in the wilderness, right? There's some protection that is provided in order for it to grow and be able to compete. So during this period, the question we're asking is, and it's not just refinery, but Nigeria as a country, should we look at protecting our nascent industries in order for them to thrive? That's the second question. Essentially, we want to be able to sell more of our products. We want to be able to sell more of our products in Nigeria because we believe we can do that, we can compete. And even though there are concerns that have been expressed around monopoly, that is a problem that has been identified. The right thing to do is to say, how do we address this problem? If monopoly is a risk, how do we address this risk while at the same time ensuring that we protect our domestic industries? And the good thing is that in the PIA, there are provisions around that. NMDPRA can monitor and take action if they feel there's monopoly. And it's very clear, the actions that are to be taken. The last question is around crude. Right now, as I said, we bought about 50 million barrels of crude. About 60% of that comes from NNPC, and we're thankful to them for their support. And we hope we'll continue to get this support. About 20% of that had to be imported from outside, and then 20% we purchased. Essentially, all we are asking for crude, and let's be very clear, we are happy to pay fair prices. We don't complain about, we don't go and haggle with NNPC. We are very happy with the price that they set. price like supermarket, and that's where we buy it, right? But what we buy from others is what we think the regulator should look at, and the good thing is the regulator has published a guideline that will address some of this. And we hope that we'll work with the regulator and we'll get their support so that 100% of Nigerian crude, the refinery can get 100% of its crude from Nigeria and buy the crude from companies that produce it in Nigeria, not from international middlemen. Whatever the price is, as long as it is in Nigeria, and that's the price also that the producer will pay their tax on, we'll be happy to pay that. So that's our third question. And we count on support of the committee, the regulators, and other stakeholders to ensure that the refinery succeeds, because if it does, aside from the other obvious benefits, like FX generation, job creation, and the rest, most importantly, there is this psychological benefit of giving Nigerians and Africans in general the confidence that we can succeed. We can build big things and make them successful. And that in itself is invaluable. Thank you very much.
I am here before you today as the president of the Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria, IPMAN, comprising of over 30,000 conglomerates, over 50,000 retail outlets, which account for 85% of petroleum stations across the country, and over 100,000 fleets of trucks conveying petroleum products in the country. So we are here to support and to say the truth in this ad hoc committee. It is important to note that IPMAN is one of the most critical organizations in the oil and gas industry in Nigeria. This is due to the fact that we are responsible for larger distribution of petroleum products across nooks and crannies of this country, despite all challenges. IPMAN is willing to collaborate with other stakeholders and government institutions, such as NNPCL, NDPPRA, to augment NNPC retail and other value chain in the downstream sector. It is pertinent to note that the value chain in the downstream should be sustained to allow other investors to continue to play their role effectively. This will go a long way in protecting those who have invested in the oil and gas sector. IPMAN, as a body, sir, would like to use this medium to solicit the support of the Senate to ensure that there is a level playing ground in this sector of the economy, by ensuring that the refineries, storage facilities owners, and IPMAN that have the retail outlet should not be distorted by allowing monopoly to set in. Before I go ahead, I would like to make it clear that IPMAN appreciates our long-standing relationship with the NNPCL. Let me also acknowledge that the NNPCL is currently doing her best to allocate IPMAN products to IPMAN through NIPCO PLC, but the products are grossly inadequate, considering the strength of IPMAN vis-a-vis. Our investment in the downstream, IPMAN's allocation needs to be improved to meet up the numbers of retail outlets, which is well separate across the country. We should appreciate tremendous increase in the allocation of product. IPMAN, under my leadership, is reassuring the Senate, the NNPCL, the NMDPPRA, and the entire Nigerians that IPMAN will continue to ensure that all product allocated to her will be discharged in all her retail outlets for enhanced service delivery to consumers, which the government is approved price. Before I go further, though, I would like to put it on record, now that at IPMAN, we have no doubt as to the capacity of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to drive Nigeria's oil and gas sector to greater height as never before seen in the history of Nigeria. Yet, there are certain indices from an Ipman point of view that have allowed down some of these remarkable. Due to the time, I will summarize. Yes, due to the time, I will summarize and wait for the public hearing, whereby I will emphasize, and we are going to say the facts, and we are going to say what will assist this ad hoc committee, because we doesn't have any country apart from Nigeria. Nigeria is our country, and we have to work for our country. God bless Senate. God bless all of you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Strictly only I'm the chairman of Crude Refinery Owners Association of Nigeria. I'm here to speak on some of the few issues we have had as refiners, and it's not so different from what Aliyu from Dangote Refinery has said. I mean, we started, I think Dangote is the only company that started before us. Our company name is OPAC, and it started, I think, about 2013, and we started about 2017. And about 2021, we actually started to do our reliability test. And it was a challenge for us to even get crude for our reliability test. We have gone to almost all the institutions, both government and private. Till this moment, as I speak, our refinery is a 10,000 barrel refinery, which was completed 2021 and started operation 2022. We are operating at about 3% capacity, a refinery of 10,000 barrels. That means we are not even getting up to 1,000 barrels per day. What that means is that we are not just the only one that are challenged in this way. There are other modular refineries that are also challenged in this way. We have made several cases in several media to say that why are we in the refinery business? We are all in the refinery business for one purpose. First and foremost, to help the country to save the effects that is being used for the importation of products into the country, because once you refine product locally, what that means is that there is no need to source for FS for importation of any product. And so what that does is that the effects that everybody is looking for, the pressure that is on FX today, it will drastically reduce. I have made instances. For example, we own a 10,000 barrel refinery. 10,000 barrel in 30 days will give you 30,000 barrels. And in a year, that's going to give you about 300,000 barrels, meaning 360,000 barrels. And if the average price of crude is $100, my refinery alone is going to require about $3.6 million to purchase crude. If you have today modular refineries, you have about 27,000 capacity of modular refinery. If you multiply, sir, please remember you have 2 minutes. You can round up with that.
I'll be rounding up. Yeah. So what I'm trying to say is that you cannot overemphasize what the Dangote guy has said, protecting local industry. We produce product into the local market. Our income is in Naira. We want to purchase product in Naira. We want adequate supply. For example, our refinery is currently rusting away because we do not have enough crude to refine in the last 2 to 3 years of kickstarting the refinery. I'm sure Edo Refinery has the same challenge, and some other refineries have the same challenge. Let me stop there. Thank you very much for this opportunity.
Opani, representing Joseph Cho Bilihari, representing Petroleum. Mr. Chairman, sir, my amiable president said I should thank the House, to thank the Senate and the chairman and all the committee members. The issue of ground, he said he will be available when the time comes for Petroleum to speak concerning this matter. I'm only here to appreciate the Senate and the entire committee. Thank you and God bless.